Hey, and welcome to this Border0 demo. In this demo, we'll take a look at the Autodiscovery and Autocreation feature. We'll see how the Border0 connector can discover all of your AWS resources, such as, for example, EC2 instances, and how we can configure Autocreation rules. And these rules will automatically create Border0 services, sockets as we call them, for the discovered EC2 instances. Best of all of this is based on EC2 instance tags, making it super easy to use. So let's dive in and see what it looks like. So here we are in the AWS console, and as you can see, I have three EC2 instances. The one on the bottom is our connector, which I installed earlier using Terraform, and the other two are EC2 instances that we're going to use for our demo. And we'll see how the connector will discover them, and based on the EC2 tags, automatically will bring them into our Border0 account, attach the right policies, also based on the EC2 tags, and then make them available to the right teams. So let's take a quick look at the tags attached to these EC2 instances. So the first one has a tag of SRE access with a value of true, and the other one has a tag of support access with a value of true. And so now with that out of the way, everything else can be done through the Border0 admin portal. So let's head that way. So now we're in the Border0 portal, and we can see the example connector here. It shows us that we already have one socket in there, which is the built-in SSH server, which will allow us to manage this particular connector. So if I go to plugins, you can see that none of the plugins are enabled. So if I go then to discovery, nothing has been discovered yet. So let's go ahead and enable the EC2 discovery plugin. I can configure it, but the defaults are just fine, so we won't change anything. So if I go back to discovery now, I should be able to see all of the EC2 instances in this particular AWS account in VPC, and then indeed we can see the three instances have been discovered already. So that's amazing. So with that out of the way, we can now go to Autocreation rules and make sure that we turn these discovered resources into Border0 sockets. So we're now in the Autocreate rule tab, and from here we can manage the Autocreate rules. So there's different types of rules that we can create, but for this demo we're working with EC2 instances, so we select EC2, and from here on we have different types of methods or rules that we can create. We can either use EC2 Instance Connect or SSM as an access method. So let's start with EC2 Instance Connect. So in this case, we'll use the SRE use case. I'll select the SRE tag here, so SRE team equals true, and we automatically attach the SRE shell access policy. And that's it. We've now created our first rule. That was really easy, so let's just add another one. So this new rule will use SSM for this example, and we set support shell access as the policy, and then the tag should be support access equals true, and that's it. As you can see, we now have two rules, but they're not yet connected to a connector. So to solve that, we'll browse back to the connector page and select the connector that we created earlier. Go to the Autocreation rules tab again, and from here on we can attach the two rules that we just created. We can give them different priorities as well to control the order in which they are evaluated. So next up, we'll browse to the sockets tab, and we'll see that two new sockets have been created. We can see EC2 instance 01 and EC2 instance 02, and they have these magical stars next to them, and that's an indicator that they were created by an Autocreation rule. So as you can see, the first one's EC2 instance 01, which we can see is using SSM as an access method, and as a policy it has the support access rule attached to it. And so let's see if we can access it. Just click on it, and yes, you can see I'm in now. It works end to end, and we can execute some commands, so that's great. So now I'll go back and we'll take a look at the second EC2 instance. That was the one that we created for the SRE team, and we can see it's named correctly, EC2 instance 02, and from there we can see that it's using AWS EC2 instance connect as an access method, and it has the SRE shell access policy attached. So let's see if that works. Yeah, I'm in here as well. You can see that that works, and we now have shell access as user Ubuntu to that machine. So all works, super easy, and yeah, feels like magic. Alright, now next let's go through the scenario where support no longer needs access to this EC2 instance. So what we can do is we can either remove this tag, or maybe just for this demo, what I'll do is I'll change the value to false, just to demonstrate that the rule no longer matches the condition. So here we can see that there's still a tag called support access, but the value no longer matches our rule. So now if we go back to the portal, that should now show that it's all been updated. So let's take a look if that's indeed the case. So if I refresh, I can indeed see that the EC2 instance called EC2 instance 01 has now disappeared, and our rule took effect. So that's great. So if I go back and undo this change again, and now set the tag back, the value of the tag back to true, and we hit save. Now, if I go back to the portal, it may take a minute before it's going to be recreated. The Autocreation plugin in this case runs once a minute, and it's controlled by the Discovery plugin. So I can just enable and disable the control or the plugin real quick, and then it will re-evaluate right away. And as you can see right now, the rule has been added, has added the EC2 instance back in there, and the support team should have access again. So just to wrap up, in this demo, we saw how you can have the Border0 connector discover all of your AWS resources, and based on tags, create or manage access to these resources. This is especially powerful in environments where resources such as EC2 instances are ephemeral, or maybe your team spins up instances manually every now and then. Either way, you can now manage access all by just adding the right tags to these instances. Now, if this got you curious, we invite you to give Border0 a try using our free community edition and see for yourself how easy it is to get going.